Owner has no idea why his top sandwich maker was fired, goes undercover and finds secret betrayal. Logan Reese stared at the HR email like it was written in another language. Termination notice, Maya Torres, effective immediately. Reason, multiple customer complaints regarding food quality and unprofessional conduct. He read it 3 times. Then a 4th. Each time, it made less sense. Maya Torres wasn't just any employee. She was a legend. In the 5 years she'd worked for his sandwich chain, she'd never once been written up. Not once. She could build a 12-inch sub in 42 seconds, toppings included, and customers asked for her by name. Logan had personally given her Employee of the Month 6 times. And now she was fired? For complaints? He grabbed his phone and dialed the store manager at location 47. It rang. And rang. Then went to voicemail. Kurt, it's Logan. Call me back immediately about Maya Torres. I need an explanation. He hung up and checked the email again. It came from Kurt's account, copied to the district HR system. That meant it was already processed. Already done. Logan pushed back from his desk and walked to the window. His office overlooked the main corporate parking lot, 3 stories down. It was a gray Tuesday morning, the kind where the sky felt too low and the air smelled like rain that hadn't fallen yet. That's when he saw her. Maya. She was standing next to an old blue sedan, holding a cardboard box. The kind of box you carry when you've just been fired. Her shoulders were shaking. Even from 3 floors up, Logan could tell she was crying. He didn't think. He just moved. By the time he got downstairs, she was leaning against the car, one hand covering her face. The box sat on the hood, random items inside. A coffee mug. A jacket. A name tag that said MOIA in bold letters. Maya, Logan said, keeping his voice gentle. She looked up, startled. Her eyes were red and puffy. When she saw who it was, her face crumpled all over again. Mr. Reese, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did. I swear I didn't do anything wrong. Tell me what happened. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. Kurt called me into the office this morning. He said there were complaints. That customer said I was rude, that the sandwiches I made were bad. But I never. Her voice broke. I've never been rude to anyone. I love my job. I don't understand. Logan's jaw tightened. Did he show you the complaints? No. He said they were confidential. He just handed me a termination letter and told me to pack my stuff. When I tried to ask questions, he said if I didn't leave quietly, he'd make sure I couldn't work at any food place in the city. That was a threat. A direct, ugly threat. Logan's mind started racing. Kurt had been the manager at store 47 for 2 years. He was efficient, kept things running smoothly, and the numbers looked good. But Logan had always felt something off about him. Kurt smiled too quickly. Laughed too loud. Like he was performing instead of managing. Maya, Logan said slowly, do you remember anything unusual happening before this? Anything at all? She hesitated. Then nodded. Last week, I noticed the premium turkey looked weird. The color was off, and it smelled bad. I told Kurt we shouldn't use it. He said it was fine, that I was being paranoid. But I couldn't serve it like that, so I threw it out and used the backup stock. Logan felt something cold settle in his chest. What did Kurt say when you did that? He got mad. Really mad. He said I wasted money and didn't trust his judgment. But Mr. Reese, I've worked with food for years. That meat was spoiled. Did you file a report? I tried. I went to the back office to send an email to HR, but Kurt saw me on the computer. He said I was clocking personal time and told me to get back on the line. She looked down at her hands. 2 days later, I was fired. Logan didn't speak for a long moment. He just looked at Maya, this woman who'd built thousands of sandwiches, who'd shown up early and stayed late, who'd done the right thing even when it cost her. And someone had destroyed her for it. Maya, he said quietly, I need you to trust me. Don't talk to anyone from the store. Don't post anything online. Just go home, and I'll call you in a couple of days. But Mr. Reese, I need this job. I have rent, I have. You'll have your job back. Logan said, his voice firm. I promise you that. But first, I need to find out what's really going on. She searched his face, looking for a lie. She didn't find one. Okay, she whispered. Logan watched her drive away, the cardboard box sitting in her passenger seat like evidence of a crime. Then he walked back inside, went straight to his office, and locked the door. He opened his laptop and pulled up the employee database. He found a generic profile, one the system used for temporary hires and trainees, and created a new identity. Name, Evan Cole. Position, trainee. Start date, today. Assigned location, store number 47. He sent the file to Kurt's inbox with a standard automated message, new hire arriving this afternoon. Please onboard and train. Then Logan changed into a pair of jeans and a plain black shirt he kept in his office closet. He left his watch, his rings, and his leather briefcase behind. By the time he walked out of the building, Logan Reese didn't exist. Only Evan Cole did. And Evan Cole was about to find out why the best sandwich maker in the company had been erased. Logan pulled into the parking lot of Store 47 at 2 in the afternoon. The building looked exactly like every other location in his chain: red brick, white trim, glass windows with the company logo printed across them. But today, it felt different. Like walking into a place where the lights were on but nobody was really home. He pushed through the front door. The smell hit him first. Bread, vinegar, pickles, the faint tang of onions. It should have been comforting. Instead, it felt heavy. Wrong. 3 employees stood behind the counter. 2 were making sandwiches for a small lunch crowd. The third, a guy in his 40s with a graying beard and a manager's badge, was standing near the register, arms crossed, watching the door. Kurt. He looked exactly like his employee photo. Stocky build, sharp eyes, the kind of face that smiled easily but never looked relaxed. When he saw Logan, his expression shifted into something friendly and practiced. Help you? Kurt asked. Yeah, I'm Evan. The new trainee? I got an email this morning saying to start today. Kurt's smile faltered for half a second. Then it snapped back into place. Right. Evan. Yeah, they sent me something about that. He didn't sound happy. He sounded annoyed. Sorry if it's short notice, Logan said, keeping his voice casual. I just really need the work. Kurt studied him for a beat too long. Then he nodded. All right. Come around back. I'll get you set up. Logan followed him behind the counter. The 2 employees making sandwiches barely looked up. One was a young guy, maybe 25, with sharp features and quick hands. The other was a woman in her 30s with dark hair pulled into a tight ponytail. Both moved like machines, efficient, silent, focused. Kurt led him to a small side station near the prep area. You ever work food service before? A little. Mostly dishwashing and stocking. Good. We don't need heroes here. Just people who follow instructions. Kurt grabbed a laminated sheet from the wall and slapped it onto the counter. This is the build guide. Meat portions, veggie counts, sauce measurements. You follow this exactly. No improvising. No exceptions. Got it. Kurt stared at him. I'm serious. We've had issues lately with people thinking they know better than the system. They don't. The system works. You mess with it, you're gone. There was an edge in his voice. A warning. Logan nodded. Understood. Derek! Kurt called out. The young guy making sandwiches looked over. Yeah? Show Evan how to build a turkey sub. Standard 6-inch. Derek wiped his hands on his apron and walked over. He didn't smile. Didn't introduce himself. Just grabbed a piece of bread and started moving. Turkey goes here. 3 slices. Not 4. Not 2. 3-inch. His voice was flat, mechanical. Cheese goes on top. Lettuce, tomato, onion. You count the tomato slices. 4 per 6-inch. Customer wants more, they pay extra. Logan watched carefully. But he wasn't watching the sandwich. He was watching Derek's hands. The way he reached for the turkey without looking. The way he knew exactly where everything was. This wasn't someone who'd just started working here. This was someone who'd been doing this a long time. Someone who had control. You got it? Derek asked. Yeah. I think so. Derek walked away without another word. Logan glanced toward the prep station in the back. It was closed off by a half wall and a swinging door. Through the gap, he could see rows of metal containers, meats, cheeses, vegetables, all labeled and organized. But there was something odd about the way it was set up. 2 people stood near the prep station like guards. Derek had gone back to his spot at the front line. The woman with the ponytail, her name tag said Lana, was standing at the edge of the prep area, arms folded, watching everything. Nobody went back there unless they were getting ingredients. And when they did, Lana's eyes followed them the entire time. Kurt checked his phone, then looked toward the front windows. He did it 3 times in 5 minutes. Like he was expecting someone. Or worried someone was watching. Evan, Kurt said suddenly. You smoke? Logan shook his head. No. Good. Breaks are 10 minutes. You don't leave the building. You don't talk to customers about anything except their order. And you don't ask questions. You do your job, you go home. Simple. Sure, Logan said. Kurt walked toward the back office, still glancing at the windows. Logan turned his attention to the ingredient line. Everything looked normal at first. Standard stock. But then he noticed the labels on the premium meats. The roast beef container had a piece of tape over the original label. The turkey bin looked newer than the others, like it had been swapped out recently. And when Logan leaned in slightly, pretending to grab a napkin, he saw something. The premium turkey didn't look premium. The color was too pale. The texture was wrong. It looked like the kind of turkey you'd buy at a discount grocery store, not the high-grade stock his company paid extra for. Logan straightened up and glanced toward the back. On the wall near the office, there was a large schedule board. Employee names, shift times, color-coded markers. But one name had been scratched off so hard the whiteboard was damaged underneath. Maya. Not erased cleanly. Not crossed out. Scratched. Violently. Logan felt his jaw tighten. Maya hadn't lied. Something was very, very wrong here. And whoever was running this operation had made sure she couldn't talk about it. Logan's second day undercover started at 11 in the morning. The lunch rush. Store 47 was packed. Lines stretched to the door. Customers shouted orders over each other. The pressure was on, and that's exactly what Logan wanted. People made mistakes under pressure. They got sloppy. He stood at the sandwich line, building orders while Derek worked next to him. Kurt was at the register, his fake smile plastered on, moving customers through as fast as possible. Lana worked the prep station in back, restocking bins and keeping everything flowing. Everything looked normal. But Logan was watching the details. Derek grabbed a container of roast beef and carried it to the line. He moved fast, dumping the meat into the bin without checking it. But Logan noticed something. The container Derek grabbed wasn't from the front of the cooler. It was from the back. From a section that should have been rotated out first. Older product. Derek was deliberately using older ingredients and hiding them in the premium bins. Logan kept his face neutral and continued building sandwiches. He waited. 20 minutes later, a customer stepped up to the register holding a half-eaten sandwich. She looked annoyed. "Excuse me," she said to Kurt. "This turkey tastes off. Like it's old or something." Kurt's expression shifted immediately. Concern, apology, understanding, all practiced, all fake. "I'm so sorry about that," he said smoothly. "We've been having some issues with quality control lately. We had to let someone go because of it." The customer frowned. "Let someone go?" "Yeah," Kurt leaned in slightly, lowering his voice like he was sharing a secret. We had an employee, Maya, who wasn't following protocols. She was cutting corners, using ingredients past their dates. We caught it last week and terminated her immediately. But unfortunately, some of the damage was already done. Logan's hands froze mid-slice. The customer nodded slowly. Oh. Well, I guess that makes sense. Can I get a refund? Absolutely. And here's a coupon for a free sandwich next time. Again, really sorry. We're working hard to rebuild the trust Maya damaged. The woman took the coupon and left. Derek glanced at Kurt and smirked. Just for a second. Then his face went blank again. Logan's pulse hammered in his ears. He forced himself to keep moving, keep building, keep acting like he hadn't just heard Kurt blame Maya for something she didn't do. The lunch rush finally died down around 1:30. Kurt told everyone to take a break. Derek and Lana disappeared into the back office. Logan said he needed to use the restroom. Instead, he went to the walk-in fridge. It was a heavy steel door with a simple latch. Logan pulled it open and stepped inside. The cold hit him immediately, biting through his shirt. Rows of shelves lined the walls, stacked with containers, boxes, and plastic-wrapped ingredients. He moved quickly. The premium meats were stored on the left side. Turkey, roast beef, ham, each in labeled boxes with delivery dates stamped on the side. Logan checked the turkey first. The box had been opened. The plastic wrap inside was torn, not cut cleanly. And when Logan lifted the top layer of meat, he saw small punctures in the packaging underneath. Tiny holes, like someone had poked them with a pen or a knife. Just enough to let air in. Just enough to make the meat spoil faster. Logan checked the roast beef. Same thing. Punctured packaging, torn wrap, exposed meat going bad. But that wasn't the worst part. He pulled out his phone and took a photo of the delivery invoice taped to the shelf. It showed the store had received a full shipment of premium stock 2 days ago. The company had been charged for top-tier product. But the meat in front of him wasn't top-tier. It was cheap. Lower grade. The kind of stuff that cost half as much. Someone was swapping the inventory. Charging corporate for premium products, but using cheap substitutes instead. And pocketing the difference. Logan's mind raced. If they were doing this with meat, they were probably doing it with other ingredients too. Cheese. Bread. Maybe even vegetables. He heard footsteps outside the fridge. Logan quickly put everything back and slipped out, closing the door just as Lana rounded the corner. She stopped when she saw him. "What are you doing back here?" she asked. Her voice wasn't friendly. "Just grabbing some air," Logan said. "It's hot out on the line." Lana stared at him. Her eyes were hard, calculating. "The break room's that way. You don't need to be near the fridge." "Got it." "Sorry." He walked past her, feeling her gaze on his back the entire time. Logan returned to the front and pretended to check his phone. Through the window, he saw a young guy, maybe 19, wearing a store uniform, talking to Lana in the parking lot. The kid looked nervous. Lana's face was tight, angry. Then Logan heard it. The kid's voice carried through the cracked door. "I'm just saying, I saw Maya tell Kurt the meats were bad. She was trying to help. And the next day, she was gone. That's weird, right?" Lana stepped closer, her voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "You want your hours cut? You want to end up like her? Then keep your mouth shut. You didn't see anything. You don't know anything. Understand?" The kid nodded quickly, his face pale. Lana walked back inside, her expression smooth and blank again. Logan felt a cold clarity settle over him. Maya hadn't been fired for complaints. She'd been fired because she told the truth. And they made sure no one else would. Logan arrived at store 47 an hour before his shift on day 3. The parking lot was nearly empty. A delivery truck idled near the back entrance, and 2 figures moved in and out of the building carrying something. He parked at the far end of the lot and watched. Kurt and Derek. Both of them hauling black trash bags toward the dumpster. But the way they carried them was wrong. Too careful. Too controlled. Trash bags were usually tossed carelessly, thrown without thought. These bags looked heavy. Important. Logan waited until they went back inside. Then he slipped out of his car and walked toward the dumpster, moving quickly but casually, like he was just checking his phone. The dumpster was standard industrial size, green metal with a sliding side door. Logan opened it and looked inside. The two bags Kurt and Derek had just thrown in sat on top of the pile. Logan grabbed one and pulled it open. Empty meat packages. Dozens of them. But these weren't the premium brands his company used. These were generic store brand labels. Cheap turkey. Discount roast beef. The kind of meat that costs $3 a pound instead of $12. Logan pulled out his phone and took pictures. The labels. The product codes. The weight specifications. Everything. Then he heard voices. Kurt and Derek were coming back. Logan shoved the bag back into the dumpster, closed the door, and moved quickly around the corner of the building. He pressed himself against the wall and held his breath. Told you to be more careful, Kurt was saying. His voice was tense, angry. If corporate ever audits the inventory, we're done. They're not going to audit, Derek said. We've been doing this for 6 months. Nobody's noticed. Maya noticed. There was a pause. Logan could hear the sound of another bag hitting the dumpster. Maya was a problem, Derek said flatly. But she's gone now. And that new guy, Evan? He doesn't ask questions. He just does what he's told. Let's keep it that way. They walked back inside. Logan waited 30 seconds, then followed. By the time he entered through the front door, the morning prep was in full swing. Lana was at the register. Derek was restocking the sandwich line. Kurt was in the back office with the door half open, talking on the phone. Logan clocked in and tied on his apron. He moved to the prep station and started slicing tomatoes, keeping his head down, staying invisible. But his mind was racing. They'd been running this scam for 6 months. Ordering premium stock through the system, charging corporate full price, then swapping it out for cheap substitutes and selling the real product somewhere else. Probably to another deli or restaurant under the table for cash. And Maya had seen it. She noticed the bad meat, tried to do the right thing, and they erased her for it. Logan clenched his jaw and kept slicing. Around noon, the part-time kid from yesterday showed up for his shift. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept. His name tag said Jesse. Jesse clocked in quietly and started wiping down tables near the front windows. He kept his head down, didn't talk to anyone. Lana watched him the entire time. Logan finished his prep work and moved to the dining area, pretending to refill napkin dispensers. He positioned himself close to where Jesse was working. Hey, Logan said quietly. You okay? Jesse glanced at him, startled. Yeah. I'm fine. You don't look fine. Jesse hesitated. He looked toward the counter, checking if anyone was listening. Lana had her back turned, helping a customer. I need this job, Jesse whispered. I can't afford to lose it. What happened? Jesse wiped the same spot on the table 3 times, not looking up. Yesterday, Lana told me to keep my mouth shut. About Maya. About what I saw. Logan leaned in slightly. What did you see? Jesse swallowed hard. I saw Maya in the walk-in fridge last week. She was checking the meat, and she looked really worried. She pulled out her phone and took pictures. Then she went to Kurt's office and I heard her say the inventory was wrong. That the labels didn't match the product. Logan's heart pounded. What did Kurt say? He told her she was mistaken. That she didn't understand how the ordering system worked. But Maya kept pushing. She said she was going to send an email to corporate if he didn't fix it. And then? Then Kurt told her to go home early. Said she looked stressed and needed rest. Jesse finally looked up, his eyes red. The next morning, she was fired. And Kurt told everyone she was the one messing up the inventory. That she was trying to cover her own mistakes. Logan felt a wave of cold rage wash over him. Jesse, he said carefully, did you tell anyone else about this? I tried to tell another employee. But Lana heard me. She said if I kept talking, my hours would disappear. And my mom, she's sick. I need the money for her medications. I can't. Hey! Lana's voice cut through the air like a whip. She was standing at the counter, glaring at them. Jesse, stop chatting and get back to work. Evan, you're needed on the line. Jesse's face went pale. He grabbed his cleaning supplies and moved to the other side of the restaurant. Logan walked back to the counter, but he could feel Lana's eyes on him. Watching. Suspicious. He knew what he had now. Maya hadn't done anything wrong. She'd told the truth. And they destroyed her to keep their secret safe. Day 3. Morning shift. Logan made sure he was the first person to arrive. He parked his car down the street and walked to store 47 in the dark. The sun hadn't risen yet. The building was silent, the lights off except for the security lamp above the back door. Logan had a key. He was the owner. But Evan Cole didn't have a key. So he waited in the shadows near the dumpster, watching. At 5:45, a white van pulled into the lot. Kurt got out of the driver's seat. Derek climbed out of the passenger side. Neither of them were in uniform yet. They looked casual, relaxed. Like this was routine. They opened the back of the van. Inside were cardboard boxes. At least a dozen of them, stacked carefully. Kurt and Derek each grabbed 2 and carried them toward the back entrance. They moved quickly, efficiently, glancing around like they were checking for witnesses. Logan stayed perfectly still. They made 3 trips. 12 boxes total. Then Kurt locked the van and they both disappeared inside the building. Logan waited 5 minutes. Then he moved. He approached the van carefully and peered through the tinted back windows. It was empty now, but he could see residue on the floor. Frost. Ice crystals. The van had been refrigerated recently. He pulled out his phone and took a photo of the license plate. Then he circled around to the back door of the store. Through the small window, he could see Kurt and Derek in the prep area. They were unpacking the boxes, pulling out plastic-wrapped packages of meat and stacking them on the counter. Cheap meat. The same kind Logan had found in the dumpster. They were swapping the inventory right now. Before the store opened. Before anyone else arrived. Derek took one of the premium turkey packages from the walk-in fridge and set it aside. Then he grabbed the cheap substitute and put it in the premium bin. He repeated the process with roast beef. With ham. With every high-cost item. The real premium products went into a separate box. A box that would disappear. Logan's hands tightened around his phone. He took photos. Video. Everything. Kurt checked his watch and said something to Derek. They both laughed. Then they carried the box of real premium meat back outside. Logan ducked behind a row of bushes as they walked past. They opened the van again, loaded the box inside, and locked it. Kurt patted Derek on the shoulder. They were celebrating. Logan waited until they went back inside. Then he walked to the front entrance and checked the time. 6:15. His shift started at 6:30. He walked to a nearby coffee shop, ordered a cup he didn't drink, and waited. At 6:28, he returned to store 47 and entered through the front door like a normal employee. Kurt was at the register, counting the cash drawer. Derek was setting up the sandwich line. Lana had just arrived and was tying her apron. "Morning, Evan," Kurt said without looking up. "Morning." Logan clocked in and moved to his station. He worked quietly, building sandwiches, restocking supplies, doing everything a good trainee would do. But every few minutes he glanced toward the prep area. The bins were full of cheap meat labeled as premium. The customers would never know. Corporate would never know. The numbers would look perfect on paper. And anyone who noticed would end up like Maya. Around 10, Logan asked to use the restroom. Instead, he slipped into the back office. The door was unlocked. Sloppy. He moved quickly. The office was small: desk, computer, filing cabinet, A corkboard covered in schedules and invoices. Logan opened the filing cabinet and flipped through the folders. Inventory reports. Delivery schedules. Employee records. He found Maya's termination file. Inside was the official complaint form. It listed 3 customer complaints, all submitted via email. Logan pulled out his phone and photographed the complaint details. Then he noticed something. The email addresses were generic. Randomized. The kind you'd create in 2 minutes on a burner account. Sandwichlover4473@mailtempcom. HungryDude829 at QuickMailNet. FoodCritic_real@disposable.org. Fake. All of them. Kurt had created false complaints to justify firing Maya. And HR had processed it without questioning because it looked legitimate on paper. Logan's jaw tightened. He photographed everything and put the file back exactly as he'd found it. When he returned to the front, Lana was standing near the hallway. Watching. "You okay?" she asked. Her tone was casual, but her eyes weren't. "Yeah. Just needed a minute. You're spending a lot of time in the back." Logan met her gaze. "Just trying to learn where everything is." Lana didn't blink. "You learn by staying on the line. Not wandering around." "Understood." She walked away, but Logan knew. She was suspicious. They all were. He'd have to move fast. That night, Logan sat in his car outside the store and reviewed everything he'd captured. Photos of the cheap meat packages in the dumpster. Video of Kurt and Derek swapping inventory. Pictures of the fake complaint emails. He had the evidence. But evidence alone wasn't enough. He needed to catch them in the act with witnesses. He needed everyone to see what had been done to Maya. Logan opened his laptop and accessed the company's remote security system. Every store had cameras, front counter, register, dining area. But there was one more tool most people didn't know about. Owner override codes. Logan activated a secondary recording protocol. Hidden. Silent. Linked directly to his personal server. Tomorrow, he'd give them enough rope to hang themselves. And this time, there'd be nowhere to hide. Day 3. Afternoon shift. Logan was building a sandwich when he felt it. The shift in the air. The way Kurt's eyes had been following him all day. The way Derek and Lana kept whispering near the prep station, glancing in his direction. They knew something was wrong. Logan kept his movements steady, his face blank. He'd been careful. He'd stayed in character. But maybe not careful enough. At 2:30, Kurt walked over to his station. "Evan, can I see you in the office?" Logan's pulse jumped, but he kept his voice calm. "Sure. Give me 1 second to finish this order." "Now." The word hung in the air. Not a request. A command. Logan set down the knife and followed Kurt to the back office. Lana watched them go, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Kurt closed the door behind them. The office felt smaller with both of them inside. Kurt leaned against the desk, arms folded, his friendly mask completely gone. "You want to tell me what you're really doing here?" Kurt asked. Logan frowned. "I don't know what you mean. I'm just working." "You're not just working. You're watching. You're listening. You've been in the walk-in fridge twice when you didn't need to be. You were in this office yesterday when you said you were in the bathroom. And this morning, I saw you in the parking lot before your shift started." Logan kept his face neutral. "I got here early. I didn't think that was a problem. It's a problem when you're sticking your nose where it doesn't belong." Kurt stepped closer. "Let me guess. You're friends with Maya, aren't you? She sent you here to spy on us. To try and get her job back." "I don't know anyone named Maya." Kurt's eyes narrowed. "You're lying. And you know what? I don't care. Because whatever you think you saw, whatever you think you know, it doesn't matter. You're done." "Done?" "I checked the inventory this morning. 6 premium roast beef packages are missing. That's over $200 of product. And guess who was the last person in the walk-in fridge unsupervised?" Logan's stomach dropped. "I didn't take anything. The logs say otherwise." The cameras will back me up. Kurt pulled out his phone and opened the employee management app. I'm terminating you effective immediately for theft. Just like Maya. Funny how that works. He was doing it again. Setting someone up. Creating a paper trail that looked real. Logan felt a cold, calculated calm settle over him. You can't fire me for something I didn't do, Logan said evenly. I just did. Now get out before I call the cops. Kurt opened the office door and gestured for Logan to leave. Derek was standing right outside, arms crossed, blocking the hallway. Lana was at the counter, watching. This was the moment. The setup. The same thing they'd done to Maya. But Logan had something they didn't know about. He reached up and tapped the small pin on his shirt collar. It looked like a standard employee badge holder. But it wasn't. It was a company-issued inspection camera. Owners used them during surprise audits to document violations without alerting staff. Completely legal. Completely admissible. And it had been recording everything since the moment Logan walked into the building 3 days ago. All right, Logan said. I'll leave. He walked past Derek, grabbed his jacket from the break room, and headed for the front door. Lana smirked as he passed. Kurt stood in the office doorway, watching him go with satisfaction. Logan pushed through the door and walked to his car. Then he sat down, pulled out his laptop, and reviewed the footage. The camera had captured everything. Kurt and Derek unloading cheap meat from the van. The swap in the prep area. Derek intentionally putting spoiled product into premium bins. Kurt creating fake customer complaints on his computer. Lana threatening Jesse in the parking lot. And now, Kurt falsely accusing Logan of theft. On camera. With audio. Logan uploaded the files to a secure server. Then he made 3 phone calls. The first was to the district HR director. The second was to the regional operations manager. The third was to corporate legal. He didn't explain much. Just told them to meet him at store 47 tomorrow morning at 9. And to bring security. Then Logan sat back and waited. Inside the store, Kurt was celebrating. He told Derek and Lana that the problem was handled. That the new guy wouldn't be an issue. That everything could go back to normal. Derek laughed. That's 2 in 2 weeks. You're getting good at this. It's easy when people don't know how the system works, Kurt said. Corporate doesn't check the small details. They just see the numbers. And our numbers look great. Lana glanced toward the front windows. You think he'll try to fight it? He can try, Kurt said. But it's his word against ours. And we've got documentation. Logs. Proof. He stole from us. End of story. They went back to work, confident and secure. They had no idea the documentation Logan had was 10 times more damaging than anything they'd faked. Logan sat in his car until closing time. He watched Kurt lock up. Watched Derek and Lana leave together, laughing about something. They thought they'd won. Tomorrow, they'd learn the truth. And there would be no way out. Logan arrived at store 47 at 8:30 in the morning. But this time, he wasn't wearing a black shirt and jeans. He wore a tailored suit. Dark gray, crisp white shirt, leather shoes. His hair was styled. His watch, the expensive one he'd left at home, was back on his wrist. He looked exactly like what he was. The owner. 2 cars pulled into the lot behind him. The first was a black sedan carrying the district HR director, Patricia Moreno. The second was an SUV with the regional operations manager, David Chen, and a corporate security officer. They met Logan near the entrance. You're sure about this? Patricia asked. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, no nonsense. I have everything, Logan said. Video, audio, documentation. It's all there. David looked toward the building. How bad is it? 6 months of inventory fraud. Fake terminations. Employee intimidation. They've been swapping premium product for cheap substitutes and pocketing the difference. Selling the real stock under the table. Patricia's expression hardened. And Maya Torres? Fired because she tried to report it. Jesus, David muttered. Logan checked his watch. They open in 15 minutes. Let's go inside. They walked to the front door. Logan unlocked it with his master key. Inside, the lights were already on. Kurt was at the register, counting the cash drawer. Derek was prepping the sandwich line. Lana was restocking napkins. All three froze when they saw Logan. Kurt's face went pale. Then red. Then pale again. What are you doing here? Kurt stammered. Logan didn't answer. He walked to the center of the store, Patricia and David flanking him. The security officer stood near the door. Everyone, stop what you're doing, Logan said. His voice was calm, but it carried weight. Authority. Derek set down the container of meat he was holding. Lana took a step back from the counter. Kurt just stood there, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. My name is Logan Reese. I own this company. And for the past 3 days, I've been working undercover in this store as a trainee named Evan Cole. The color drained from Kurt's face completely. That's not possible, Kurt said. You can't just. I can, Logan said. And I did. Because 4 days ago, you fired Maya Torres under false pretenses. And I wanted to know why. Kurt's hands were shaking. Maya violated protocol. She mishandled inventory. There were complaints. There were no complaints, Logan said coldly. You fabricated them using burner email accounts. I have copies of the fake addresses. I have screenshots of you creating them on the office computer. It's all timestamped. Kurt's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Logan turned to Derek. You've been deliberately using spoiled product and swapping premium inventory for cheap substitutes. I watched you do it. I have video of you and Kurt unloading discount meat from a van and replacing the real stock. I have photos of the cheap packages in the dumpster. I have footage of you puncturing the packaging on premium products to make them spoil faster. Derek's jaw tightened. He didn't say anything. He just stared at the floor. Logan looked at Lana. You threatened a 19-year-old employee to keep him quiet. Told him his hours would disappear if he talked about what he saw. I have audio of that conversation. Lana's face twisted with anger. You have no right. I have every right, Logan said. This is my company. These are my employees. And you've been stealing from me, endangering customers, and destroying innocent people's lives to cover it up. Patricia stepped forward, holding a tablet. Kurt Brennan, Derek Cole, Lana Petrov, you're all terminated effective immediately. Corporate security will escort you out. You'll be hearing from our legal team regarding criminal charges for fraud, theft, and falsifying company records. Kurt's face crumpled. No, wait. Please. I can explain. We were just trying to improve the margins. The quotas you set were impossible. We had to. You had to steal? Logan's voice was ice. You had to frame an innocent woman? You had to threaten a kid who needed money for his mother's medication? Kurt's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please. I have a family. I need this job. Maya had a family too, Logan said. And you took everything from her without a second thought. Derek finally spoke, his voice flat and emotionless. How long have you known? Since day one, Logan said. Maya told me the meat was spoiled. That you got angry when she tried to report it. Everything after that was just confirming what I already suspected. Derek nodded slowly. Then he took off his apron and dropped it on the counter. Fine. I'm done. He walked toward the door without looking back. Lana was shaking with rage. This is entrapment. You can't use evidence you got while lying about who you were. Patricia almost smiled. Actually, he can. Owner privilege. Every employee signs an agreement acknowledging that management can conduct covert audits. You signed it when you were hired. Lana's face went white. The security officer stepped forward. Let's go. All of you. Kurt was crying now, openly, his shoulders shaking. Derek walked out silently, his face blank, Lana glared at Logan as she passed, but said nothing. The door closed behind them. The store was silent. Logan stood in the middle of the empty restaurant and let out a long breath. Patricia touched his shoulder. You did the right thing. Yeah, Logan said quietly. Now I need to fix what they broke. And he knew exactly where to start. Logan stood outside Maya's apartment building, holding a folder and a cup of coffee he'd picked up from a place that wasn't his own chain. He'd rehearsed what he was going to say a dozen times on the drive over. None of it felt adequate. He knocked on the door. There was a long pause. Then the door opened a crack, the chain still attached. Maya's face appeared in the gap. Her eyes widened. Mr. Reese? Her voice was hoarse, uncertain. Hi, Maya. Can I come in? I have something important to tell you. She hesitated, then closed the door to unlatch the chain. When she opened it again, Logan could see she'd been crying recently. Her apartment was small but clean. A couch, a kitchen table, a few framed photos on the wall. Everything neat and organized, just like her workstation used to be. I'm sorry to show up unannounced, Logan said. But I needed to see you in person. Maya wrapped her arms around herself. If this is about the termination, I already talked to a lawyer. He said it would be hard to fight, but you don't need to fight it, Logan said gently. It's over. Kurt, Derek, and Lana were all fired this morning. Maya's mouth fell open. What? Logan gestured to the couch. Can we sit? This is going to take a few minutes. They sat down, and Logan opened the folder. Inside were printed reports, screenshots, photographs, everything he'd gathered during his 3 days undercover. After you told me what happened, I knew something was wrong, Logan said. So I went undercover. I worked at Store 47 as a trainee for 3 days. And I found out exactly what they were doing. He walked her through everything. The inventory swap. The cheap meat replacing premium stock. The fake customer complaints. The threats against Jessie. The way they'd systematically destroyed her reputation to cover their theft. Maya's hands shook as she looked through the evidence. Tears streamed down her face, but she didn't make a sound. You were right about the meat, Logan said quietly. It was spoiled. And when you tried to report it, they knew you'd eventually figure out the whole operation. So they got rid of you first. Made it look like you were the problem. I thought I was going crazy, Maya whispered. I thought maybe I really had done something wrong. That I'd missed something. You didn't miss anything. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You told the truth. And they punished you for it. Maya wiped her eyes. What happens now? Logan pulled out a second folder. This is your clean HR record. Every false complaint has been removed. Your termination has been voided. Officially, you were placed on paid administrative leave while we investigated internal misconduct. Your employment record is spotless. Maya stared at the document like she couldn't believe it was real. But that's not all. Logan continued. I want to offer you your job back. With a raise. Retroactive pay for the days you missed. And a new position. A new position? Logan nodded. Regional sandwich trainer. You'd oversee quality control and training across 6 locations. You'd report directly to me, not to store managers. Your job would be to make sure what happened at Store 47 never happens anywhere else. Maya's breath caught. Mr. Reese, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything right now. But there's one more thing. Logan pulled out a printed document and handed it to her. I'm implementing a new company policy. Anonymous reporting that goes directly to ownership. No manager can intercept it, delete it, or alter it. Every report gets reviewed by me or the district director personally. No one gets silenced again. Maya read the policy, her hands still trembling. Then she looked up at Logan, her eyes red but clear. Why did you do all this? She asked. You could have just believed Kurt. You could have let it go. Because you deserve better, Logan said simply. And because the best employee I've ever had told me something was wrong. I wasn't going to ignore that. Maya broke down completely then, sobbing into her hands. Logan waited quietly, letting her release everything she'd been holding in for days. When she finally looked up, her face was blotchy but determined. "When do I start?" Logan smiled. "How about Monday? I'll have a desk set up for you at the regional office. But if you want to visit store 47 first, I think there are some people who'd like to see you." The following Monday, Maya walked into store 47 wearing a new uniform with a trainer badge clipped to her collar. The employees, Jesse, 2 other line workers, and a new manager Logan had personally vetted, stopped what they were doing. Jesse saw her first. His face lit up. "Maya! You're back!" She smiled. "I'm back." The staff gathered around her, asking questions, apologizing for not speaking up, thanking her for standing up even when it cost her everything. Maya listened to all of them. Then she tied on an apron and stepped behind the counter. "All right," she said. "Let's make some sandwiches. The right way." She moved to the prep station, checked the meat labels, verified the dates, and nodded with satisfaction. Everything was exactly as it should be. Logan watched from the doorway for a moment. Then he quietly left. Maya didn't need him there anymore. She had her dignity back. Her job back. Her voice back. And in a kitchen where she'd once been erased, her name was now written in permanent marker on the board. Not scratched out, but honored.